This is one of the most awaited presentation of the week, the first pictures and Q&A about High in the Clouds. Right after it happened here in Nancy, we are lucky enough to catch producer and Gaumont Global Animation president Terry Callaghan, Illustrious project supervisor Christian De Vita, and director Toby Genkel. How was this moment in Nancy? Can you tell us?
Well, it was really great, to be honest. It's like, I have to say, I always count down the hours before, because you know, how do you call it? Stage fright? Is it stage fright? But it's like and you just want to get started, and once you're on stage, it's just really cool. And then it takes just 1 or 2 minutes. You can also feel it and it felt like it was a really great experience. I have to say, really, really cool. Lovely audience. Yeah.
Really reactive and passionate.
Yeah.
Well, they laughed in the right places and clapped at the right places. So yeah, I think they're directed in a good way.
Yeah.
Unless they were laughing at us and not with us.
And we'll never know, so it's fine.
Exactly.
It's
Well, we had slides behind us saying applause, so we had it all figured out. Yeah.
No, I think it was fun. I know that the MIFA gang has been asking about the film for many years, and so we appreciate their support. We, Gaumont and me personally, appreciate their support. So to be able to bring them something that is good for your audience, for the MIFA audience, is fantastic.
Do you think your presence in Nancy and this reactive moment with audience can have impact on the rest of the production, on the rest of the creation?
Well, it's always a good test, if you present the whole thing, right? And if the people react to it like in such a nice way as they did, that's certainly comforting for the rest of the production.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you present stuff, if it's good or not, when you're in the process, when you pitch it. So, and this was a very comfortable presentation today. It really felt.
Yeah, it was a warm crowd.
Yeah,
Definitely
absolutely.
a warm crowd. It seems like they were very excited about the movie, and they had lots of fun questions, which I think is how you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
What was the funniest question today you were asked?
The one about the budget, maybe, or there's different ones. I mean, obviously, with Paul McCartney being such a central part of the concept and the story, a lot of questions turned to the Beatles and present and past members of that amazing, legendary group. But there's quite a lot of interesting questions about animation per se, and technical questions and artistic questions.
I thought the funniest one, I have to say, is the young woman who asked why Whirl was a squirrel.
Oh yes, why is he a squirrel?
Like, it's a fun question. It's okay, It's like, why did you choose this one versus that one, And really, the answer is because that's the.
We would have to ask Paul. Though,
the Paul wanted that character and loved squirrels, so it's kind of like, okay, that's what we used. I don't know.
Red squirrels in particular.
Yeah.
Because they're cute.
When Paul McCartney first put pen to paper on this story, I guess he had a certain melody and atmosphere in his head. How do you manage to be aligned with this capture, this original spark?
Well, I mean, it was inspired by a book, a children's book that he co-wrote in the early 2000s. So we weren't there for that, It was a book that got published, I believe, in the UK, although it went around the world. It was English speaking. And so he kind of fell in love with these characters earlier on with the frogs, and he talks about how he had an early version of Rupert the Frog and the Frog Song.
Yeah.
So I think that those are characters that he just kind of fell in love with, and then he just kind of put those into his book, and then we included them in our story.
I also think he wanted to say something from the beginning, this message. The overall message, and it never changed from the original book. So if you ask about what's the melody, it was very easy to chime in on that melody for us, because there was always this common goal, what the story and what the movie is supposed to be about.
So the visual storytelling was quite easy to match and to decide, or
I think like once you have the script in place, right, everybody decided on where this movie is going to, right? So, and like, I would never say words like it was easy.
No,
You know?
no. We went
The
through
worst.
we went through the process. I mean, we
Yeah.
went through the process of generating different kinds of designs, and you know, and he chimed in which ones he liked better and which ones he didn't like, and certainly there were ones that he absolutely preferred. You know, there was one style that we had put together which was a bit more stylistic, the squarish kind of silhouettes, and he didn't gravitate to that one as much as he gravitated to some other ones, but he definitely has an opinion about if characters look younger or older, or you know, that sort of thing, and in his mind what age those characters sit, and so he definite ideas, and you know, collaborative. He collaborated, I think, every step of the way, really. Yeah.
It's quite a long run, this project, because it started like around 2013 or something like that, the first announcement.
Maybe.
So we are like more than 10 years and still a few years going till...
We haven't been
release.
working on it since 2013, but yeah.
How do you feel on such a run? Is it tiring or exciting to...
I mean, for me, I feel like, you know, the movie is as far as it's ever been. So it's like it's going. You know, we see, even though we still have a long way to go, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I see it being made, you know, and we're ramping up to do that. And, you know, marketing is getting into it now. And it's like all these other, you know, when your movie gets far enough along, then you have the other kind of other things that you start doing. Like I said, marketing and how do you put together your other, is there, that's not the right word, but like, you know, is there like licensing that can occur? Do you go, touch the mic, is there other people that you need to reach out to, like, you know, promotional people and that sort of thing? And because we're far enough along now, that's what you have to do in order to promote the movie, because you're getting ready to release it, you know, in a year or whenever it is. So, and so that all of that action and that reaction is happening now. So I can definitely see that light, you know. Gonna happen.
Well, I'm on board since 1.5 years, so I'm fresh, and so
He's like,
you know,
"It's
it's
always
like for me, it's
gonna
like, oh, you know, so I don't really have this long history with it, but it's like, yeah,
Yep.
it's like you can tell the, you know, what I really like about this project. You know, you might think like if people do this for such a long time, they might get tired of it, but it's absolutely quite the opposite happening with Gaumont. You know, it seems like everything's the history this project has is like they even more motivated now to make a great film out of it.
I mean, we happened to have this film during COVID, so that, you know, that was a bit tough during that part. You know, we were still developing it and still, you know, working on it and that sort of thing. But and you know, during that time, a lot of things slowed down. So so there was certainly during this time there was some time lost. Sorry, didn't mean to.
That's okay.
There's a fantastic cast on this project. We cannot almost tell all the names, but Idris Elba, Paul McCartney, Ringo, Lionel, Céline, we cannot forget about her, Jimmy, Clémence, Alain. How did you manage to gather such a cast, and how exciting and challenging it is?
It was difficult, for sure, and certainly it was challenging, and part of it was who was available when. That was a large part of it, and then, you know, who seemed like they could be a good fit in different, you know, different times, and so. Yeah, we ran through we ran through cast lists over and over and over again. I mean, we spent a lot of time going through cast lists, and obviously
It was really easy. You just have to say, Paul McCartney wants you in this movie, and then
no, but you know, Paul's not like that.
No, I know it.
Yeah, I mean, he wants people to be in the movie because they want to be in the movie, but
Totally.
but also, you know, and if they felt like they were a good fit for him, and for him it was, you know, whether or not too that they wanted to be in the movie, they could do a good job, you know. So but to your point, it's true that you say that Paul McCartney has this movie.
Toby Gangel wants you in this movie. Sorry, Paul McCartney wants you in this movie.
But I mean, when we started the movie, you know, as an example, if I think during that time, if we would have gone to Celine at that time, you know, she was ill. She had the illness, and she just wouldn't have been able to do that. So timing is everything. Timing is everything. Yeah.
Animation is all about timing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Is.
Life too.
Ba-dum-bum.
Was Alain Chabat recruited for his vocal and singing abilities?
For his dancing abilities, actually, I think, more than anything. No, he's a great comedian, but also an amazing, funny, hard, charming. And I mean, you are the pleasure of working with him more directly, but and also he's so popular in France and all over the world because of his involvement with animation. I only recently saw the new Asterix, and it was absolutely kick-ass. It was really funny.
Cool. Yeah.
But I mean, the
Great
thing,
Gas is about the important. I think with every actor and an actress that's on the film, it's what's right for the character as well, because we are certainly we're sport for choice now, but they all bring something really unique to each character, and that's important because you just don't pick a cast member and go, well, that'll do for this and this will do for that, just because they're a big name. They got to be
for
right
sure.
for the role. Right?
For sure. But I mean, like what we talked about in the story we talked about with the table read, you know, after Remy played Bixby, you know, in French, and it was so funny. He was so funny. And we just looked at each other and we said, that's it. We need, this character needs to have a French accent. Yeah. And half the people around the table were French, and so we said that. And I don't remember if it was Nicolas or if it was Sidonie or, you know, one of the people was like, well, if like, really, do you feel like it needs to, we're like, yes, this character needs to be French. And like, everyone's like, it needs to be Alain Chabat. And because we're Gaumont, you know, and we work with him often, and he knows us, we know him. It was an easy phone call to make, to say, would you be interested? Would you be interested? He could have said no. I mean, he's a busy guy, you know? And of course he would love to do it, but again, it's the timing. And so he had the time, and he's like, yeah, I think this could be a fun thing. And he, you know, we brought him into the studio, and he brought it, you know, it was fantastic.
He hit it out of the park.
He hit it, yeah.
He's a bringer.
Yeah, he brought it, yeah.
And as you said, Christian, it's quite difficult to say no to Paul.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for this
Sure.
little moment.